8 days ago, I was with our advanced troops in the jungle, facing the Japs at Kokoda. It's an uncanny sort of warfare. You never see a Jap, even though he's only 20 yards away. They're complete masters of camouflage and deception. I should say about 40% of our boys wounded in those engagements haven't seen a Japanese soldier, a live one anyway. Don't underestimate the Jap. He's a highly trained soldier, well-disciplined and brave. And although he's had some success up to the present, he's now got against him some of the finest and toughest troops in the world.
Damien Parer was an Australian war photographer and filmmaker who gained international recognition for his courageous work during the Second World War. By documenting some of the conflict's most dangerous combat zones, Parer created a powerful historical record that captured the profound human cost of war and the courage and sacrifice of those who served. Born on the 1st of August 1912 in Melbourne, Victoria, Parer was the third of 7 children, raised in a devout Catholic family of Spanish descent. In his youth, he was initially expected to pursue a priesthood, though this would all change when he received his first camera. After leaving school, he entered and won a photography competition run by a leading Melbourne newspaper. Determined to make this more than a hobby, Parer secured an apprenticeship under Arthur Dickinson, one of Melbourne's most respected commercial photographers. His growing expertise eventually led him into the Australian film industry, where Parer began working with renowned director Charles Chevelle. By 1940, he had secured a role as a cameraman in Chevelle's wartime feature film 40,000 Horsemen, which dramatised the exploits of the Australian Light Horse during World War I, marking an early milestone in his cinematic career. By the outbreak of World War II, Parer's notable talent and commitment led to his appointment as the official photographer of the Australian Imperial Force under the Department of Information. His first combat filming came in July of 1940, aboard the HMAS Sydney, shortly after it had sunk the Italian cruiser Bartolomeo Colleoni off the coast of Crete. In December of 1940, he joined British and Australian forces aboard the HMAS Ladybird, documenting its bombardment of Bardia, a key seaport in eastern Libya. Following the fall of Bardia in early January of 1941, he advanced with Australian troops to Tobruk, filming from the front as the town came under Allied control. It was during this period, amid the troop advance at Derna, that Parer first experienced combat at close quarters. In the months that followed, Parer travelled extensively across North Africa and the Mediterranean, documenting military operations from every angle, filming from the air during combat missions, capturing naval engagements from ship decks, and joining infantry units on the ground as they advanced through hostile territory. In August of 1941, Parer returned to Tobruk to document the ongoing siege. Embedded with the defenders, he captured the resilient efforts of the Rats of Tobruk, as they faced one of the war's most prolonged and grueling standoffs. In a near-fatal encounter in November of 1941, while travelling with Major Randolph Churchill and journalist Chester Wilmot to document the Battle of Sida Omar, Parer's vehicle was nearly shelled by British artillery after the group had been mistakenly identified as enemy troops. By July of 1942, Parer was reassigned to the Pacific Theatre, arriving in New Guinea to cover the fight against Japanese forces. Alongside fellow war correspondent Osmar White, he undertook a grueling trek from Port Moresby to Wa, documenting the harsh terrain and perilous conditions faced by the Australian troops defending the island's northern coast. During this phase, Parer captured some of his most powerful footage, including dramatic scenes from Salamaua and the Kokoda track. This work was featured prominently in the landmark documentary Kokoda Front Line. Produced by Ken Hall, the film went on to win the 1943 Academy Award for Best Documentary, becoming the first Australian film to receive an Oscar. In March of 1943, he would cover the Battle of Bismarck Sea, while flying aboard Royal Australian Air Force Bristol Beaufighters with No. 30 Squadron. Over 3 days of intense combat, he filmed low-level attacks on Japanese convoys attempting to reinforce Lae, capturing dramatic scenes of strafing runs, bomb strikes, and the destruction of enemy vessels. In September of 1943, frustrated by the ongoing censorship of his footage, Parer resigned from the Department of Information and next joined Paramount News, which offered him greater editorial freedom while continuing to film from the front lines. While working for the American newsreel company, Parer documented the Battle of Guam between July and August of 1944, footage that would later earn him a posthumous headliner award from the American Journalists Association. On what was to be his last assignment, Parer was chosen as one of several war correspondents tasked with covering the US Marine Corps' amphibious assault on Peleliu. On September 17, 1944, Parer was killed by Japanese machine gun fire as he followed advancing Marines onto Orange Beach. At the time of his death, he was 32 years old. Having initially been buried on Peleliu, Parer's remains were relocated several times before being permanently interred in 1961 at the Arbonne War Cemetery in Maluku, Indonesia.